Hello guys, in this video lecture we will study some basic properties of symmetric operators on a Hilbert space. So let us first define what is a symmetric operator, and let us first fix some notations. We will represent our Hilbert space by H, and we will represent our symmetric operator by A, and we will define represent it as domain by D of A. These are some notations, and we will study some basic properties about the symmetric operator. It is very useful in various subjects like quantum mechanics. It is heavily used there because of its properties, that its eigenvalues are real and its eigenfunctions are also orthogonal. So let us define first what is a symmetric operator. Symmetric operator A is simply a linear operator from its domain X into Hilbert space H, while D of A is simply the linear space of H, subspace of H. First condition is that D of A should be dense in H, that is, its closure must be whole of H. And second condition is that inner product of AX with the Y should not change if we jump from the first variable into the second. This should hold for all xy in our Hilbert space H, for all vectors in our Hilbert space H. This property, these two properties define what do we mean by a symmetric operator. A should be also linear, although it need not to be bounded. Boundedness is not necessary. It should be linear operator with these two conditions. If it is bounded, then we can extend it to whole of Hilbert space H by the theorem which states that if we have a linear operator which is densely defined, then we can uniquely extend to whole of space. That is, if we have an operator defined on some our norm space X such that it is domain, let this be the domain of T which is dense in X, that is domain of T is its closure is whole of X, then this operator T which was defined in this domain, we can extend this T to whole of X, that is, it can be extended to this whole region uniquely, and that extension is unique. So we are here not assuming that this is bounded. We will study some basic properties about it, about its eigenvalues and about its eigenfunctions. Also you know about the symmetric matrices over finite dimensional spaces. Symmetric matrices are simply if A transpose is over A. You know the basic properties about symmetric matrices, that their eigenvalues are real and also their eigenfunctions or eigenvectors are orthogonal, or if they are not orthogonal, they can be made into, we can make them orthogonal. So these are the very basic properties about the symmetric matrices. Also, this is symmetric operators is the generalization of these factors of this symmetric matrices over the finite dimensional spaces. It is also useful in the quantum mechanics because due to its properties and also our physical observables which are real quantities, also positive quantities like momentum, position, etc. Therefore this is very useful in the quantum mechanics, because the observables we have, they are also some positive quantities. First property of this operator is that inner product of AX with the X is simply a real number. Although this inner product can be a complex number depending on our field, but for symmetric operators this quantity is always real. But in case of observables, you know that physical quantity can never be negative. So, but here we have the property here, we have that it is always real. So we need to impose further conditions on this operator in order for it to represent some our observables, and or in order to measure our observables. That is positive. We will not go into that. We will simply study some basic properties about it. So we will show first property, that its value is always real for all vectors in our Hilbert space H. So let us show first this property, that is Ax inner product with X. So since our A is symmetric, this will simply allow us to jump into the second variable, that is it will be simply, also you know the very basic fact about the inner product, that it is anti-symmetric, that is inner product of xy is same as yx conjugate. Therefore we will use this property here. So this will be equal to, if we exchange these two, we will get the conjugate of it, that is Ax with x. This will be simply replaced by its conjugate. But here the quantity is same, here it is same with the conjugate, which implies that z is simply equal to z conjugate. Now if we have a property for z equal z conjugate, this property for a complex number, this simply implies that z is our simply a real number, which simply implies this, that this is a real number, because it is clear from your basic knowledge about the complex numbers that if we have a z here complex number, its conjugate is simply this reflection about x-axis, this is z conjugate. But if we have a real number, then its reflection will be simply itself about x-axis. So if we have a z real number, then z will be same equal to z conjugate. Hence here we have inner product of Ax with the x is same as inner product of Ax with the x conjugate, which implies simply Ax x is belongs to real. Second property is about its eigenvalues, that its eigenvalues are also real. So let me first remind you the definition of eigenvalue and as well as eigenvectors. We say that if we have a linear operator from some linear space X into X, we say that lambda is an eigenvalue for this linear operator if simply there exists some non-zero vector x in X such that t of x is simply lambda times x. Remember, this should be non-zero, x vector should be non-zero. This simply implies that this vector gets simply scaled by the value lambda. That is, if we have suppose if we have our suppose simple linear operator like this matrix, which is simply the diagonal scalar, that every vector gets scaled by the 2. That is, if we have a vector here, it simply gets scaled by 2. If we have vector 1 comma 1, it will get simply scaled to 2 comma 2. Therefore for this, and also it remains on its span, all vectors here they will get scaled to by 2. So therefore every vector here in the R2, suppose it was our R2, every vector here gets scaled by the 2. Therefore this 2 is the eigenvalue for this linear operator, and every vector here is eigenvector, every vector is here an eigenvector. So we claim that the for this symmetric operator A, its eigenvalues are real. So let me prove this property. That suppose lambda is in our field K, and also for an operator it depends on the underlying field for a vector space whether this operator has an eigenvalue or not. It depends on the very underlying field. So if lambda is an eigenvalue, which implies there exists some non-zero vector in our Hilbert space H such that Ax is simply lambda times x, that is, it simply gets scaled up or down depending on the lambda. So we have inner product of Ax with the x will be simply, Ax is simply our lambda x, which is same as lambda x come inner product lambda x with the x. Also we have, this is symmetric, therefore it will allow us to jump in the second coordinate, which is same, therefore this is also equal to x lambda x. So we have these two equalities, these two. Let me rub it. So we have lambda x with the x is same as inner product of x. Now by the very properties of the inner product, it's linear in the first, so it will come out, we can bring it out of the first variable as such, and it is antilinear in the second coordinate, therefore we will bring out the lambda conjugate x, which is simply lambda minus lambda bar of inner product x with x is 0, but inner product of x with x is simply norm x square, it is simply norm x square, and also we have that x is our non-zero vector, therefore this quantity cannot be 0, lambda must be equal to lambda conjugate, which again implies that lambda must be a real number. Therefore this is another property of the eigenvalues of a symmetric operator, that its eigenvalues are all real numbers. Another property is, if we have two different eigenvalues, that is lambda 1 not equal to lambda 2, then the corresponding eigenfunctions are orthogonal, that is the eigenfunction corresponding to this lambda 1, let us suppose it is x1 and let us suppose this is x2, then the inner product of x1 with x2 is simply 0, that is they are orthogonal to each other, orthogonal. This property holds also about the symmetric matrices. So let us prove this property. We have a x1 x2, where x1 and x2 are the eigenfunctions corresponding to lambda 1 and lambda 2, where lambda 1 is not equal to lambda 2, it will be simply equal to lambda 1 x1 x2, but this allows us to jump in the second coordinate because A is symmetric, therefore we have A times x2, which is simply equal to x1 lambda 2 x2, where lambda 1 and lambda 2 are the corresponding eigenvalues. Therefore we have lambda 1 x1 x2 is same as, since lambda 1 and lambda 2 are real numbers, therefore lambda 1 and lambda 2 conjugate will be same as lambda 2 and lambda 2 conjugate will be same, because for real numbers its conjugate is itself. Therefore if we will bring this out from the second, it will get conjugated, but conjugate is same as lambda 2, therefore I will simply write lambda 2 x1 x2. And also from this first term here in this equality, lambda 1 can be also brought out without conjugate because it is linear. So let us write it here, lambda 1 x1 x2 lambda 2 x1 x2. We can bring out lambda 1 here and minus lambda 2 inner product of x1 with the x2. This is simply 0. Now lambda 1, we know lambda 1 is not equal to lambda 2 because we assumed this hypothesis. Therefore inner product of x1 with the x2 must be 0. Hence we get x1 is orthogonal to x2. Another property is about orthonormal basis for the Hilbert space. So let me first remind you that what is an orthonormal basis. Let us suppose our Hilbert space is H, and we have the vectors x1, x2, x3 dash dash. We say that this is the orthonormal basis for H, that is, this is orthonormal basis for H. If all the vectors here x1, x2, x3 all are pairwise orthogonal, that is inner product of xi with xj is simply 0 for all I not equal to j, that is they are pairwise orthogonal, and also their norm is 1, that is inner product of x with the itself, xi with the itself is simply 1. This is the orthonormal basis, and also its span should be dense in H, that is if we take the span of this and its closure, span of this basis and its closure, it should be equal to Hilbert space H. Now we are assuming an orthonormal basis for our Hilbert space consisting of the eigenfunctions of this operator, that is we consider our orthonormal basis to be x1, x2, x3, x4 dash dash. This is our orthonormal basis of our Hilbert space H. Orthonormal basis of H, but these are all eigenfunctions or eigenvectors, eigenfunctions of our operator, symmetric operator A, and let lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda 3, lambda 4 be the corresponding eigenvalues. They might be equal, they all might be equal, that is lambda 1 might be equal to lambda 2 equal to lambda 3, or some may be different, some may be equal, that doesn't matter here. Now we will prove another property for this symmetric operator, that if there is any other eigenvalue of this operator A, then it must coincide with one of these eigenvalues. That is, if we have an orthonormal basis of H consisting of the eigenfunctions of the symmetric operator, then our eigenvalues must be also countable, that is eigenvalues cannot exceed than these eigenvalues written here lambda 1, lambda 2. That is, if we have any another, suppose mu, we have another eigenvalue for this operator A, symmetric operator, then this mu must coincide with one of these lambda i's, that is mu must be equal to some lambda I for some I. This is our claim, that is it cannot have, our symmetric operator cannot have more eigenvalues than the corresponding eigenvalues corresponding to the eigenfunctions which is the basis, orthonormal basis for our Hilbert space H. So we will prove this property by contradiction. We will assume that mu is not equal to lambda j for all j in our given in our given conditions, that is mu is not equal to lambda j for all j. And let us suppose our eigenfunction corresponding to mu is y, non-zero eigenfunction corresponding to mu is y. We will now prove that this leads to a contradiction. Y is our non-zero vector. So since y is an eigenfunction, therefore ay must be equal to mu times y also we have our bases x1, x2, x3. These are ortho normal. Then the inner product of y with the xj must be also equal to 0 for all j. This is by the property of orthonormal bases. Since these are the orthonormal eigenfunctions of the corresponding symmetric operator, and y is also an eigenfunction, and mu is not equal to lambda j. In the previous property we proved that if we have two different eigenvalues, lambda 1 not equal to lambda 2, then the corresponding eigenfunctions are they must be orthogonal to each other. Therefore y must be orthogonal to all of these eigenfunctions. Now but this y also belongs to our Hilbert space H, and this is also the orthonormal basis. x1, x2 is orthonormal basis, which implies that y can be written as simply the linear combination of all these, it is the orthonormal basis. It can be written as the summation of all these ci xi's, where I runs from 1 to infinity, which is the very property where ci are in our scalar field K. This is the property of the orthonormal basis. Since y also belongs to our Hilbert space, therefore every vector in the Hilbert space can be represented through this series. Therefore which implies if we take the partial sum of all of this series, it will converge to y. That is, if we take the partial sum of this series, that is, if we take c1 x1 comma c1 x1 plus c2 x2 comma c1 x1 plus c2 x2 plus c3 x3 comma dash dash dash, if we take the sequence of partial sums of this series, it will finally converge to y. This is the property of the orthonormal basis, or this is very the definition of a convergence of a series, infinite series, which implies that y is simply equal to limit of these partial sums ci xj, well j runs from 1 to n, finite n, and then we will take limit, it will simply converge to y. This is the very property of orthonormal basis. So we will prove that this leads to our contradiction. The claim we assumed that mu is not equal to lambda j for all j, this will lead to a contradiction. So we will write norm of y. Norm of y square will be simply inner product of y with itself, which will be simply inner product of y with limit y is simply equal to limit n goes to infinity summation of ci xi, I goes from 1 to n goes to infinity. Now we know that inner product is a continuous function on a Hilbert space, or on an vector space. It is on an Hilbert space. It is a or some vector space or some norm space. It is an it is a continuous function. Therefore this continuous function will allow us to brought this limit out of it, because we have a finite sum limit. It will simply allow us to write limit n goes to infinity of y with the summation ci xi, I goes from 1 to n, Now this is a finite sum, therefore also we know that inner product in the second variable is antilinear, so therefore we can bring out this sum with the conjugate, that is we can simply write limit n goes to infinity. We can bring it out by term, or we will simply write this by ci conjugate I goes from 1 to n, inner product of y with the xi by the linearity property, antilinearity property of the inner product in the second variable. But we know that inner product of y with the xi is equal to 0 for all I. We know this property because its eigenvalues we assumed are not equal, therefore corresponding eigenfunctions will be orthogonal for each I. Therefore this will be simply be equal to, that is limit of summation I goes from 1 to n ci conjugate x with the y with the xi's and n goes to infinity. This will simply be equal to limit n goes to infinity of summation I goes from 1 to n ci conjugate into 0 I. This will simply be 0 because they are all orthogonal to each other, and that will be simply 0, and the limit of the 0 sequence is simply 0, which implies that norm of y square is 0, which implies that y should be a 0 vector, but we assume that our eigenfunction was non-zero because eigenfunctions we consider eigenfunctions only non-zero eigenfunctions or eigenvectors. It is always assumed that it is a non-zero, which is a contradiction. We get here that y is a 0 vector or 0 eigenfunction, but we assumed that y was a non-zero, which is clear contradiction. Hence mu must coincide with some lambda j for some j. This must coincide. Hence for a symmetric operator it can't have many eigenvalues. It can have at most countable eigenvalues if we have a orthonormal basis of eigenfunctions for the Hilbert space. So these were some basic properties about the symmetric operator. Also we assumed that our symmetric operator is not bounded. If we assume also that A is bounded, that is it is bounded, linear bounded, then we can extend this operator to whole of H. That is, if we have this our Hilbert space H and this is its domain D of A, if we assume also that it is bounded, then we can uniquely extend to this whole space H by the very theorem for the bounded linear bounded linear operators which are densely defined. This was all about some basic properties about of the symmetric operators. Thank you.